At my sister's wedding, my parents demanded I give her the $900,000 house I built myself. When I refused, my father snapped and struck me with a heavy silver serving platter, sending me to the floor. The room fell silent until my sister's fiancé revealed a truth that shattered my parents' world. The platter hit me before I even registered my father was swinging. 1 second I was sitting at my assigned table watching my sister Madison twirl in her $10,000 designer dress. The next, solid silver connected with my temple and the world tilted sideways. I went down hard, my chair skittering backward. My shoulder hit the polished floor first, then my head bounced once, twice. The string quartet stopped mid-song. 300 guests went silent. All I could hear was a high-pitched ringing, persistent, like a fire alarm going off inside my skull. My hand went to my head and came away red, sticky. Warm blood dripped past my ear, soaking into the collar of my silk blouse. My mother's face appeared above me, a blurred, distorted mask of fury. "Get up, Ella. You're embarrassing us." Just hours earlier, I'd spent the morning installing the last light fixture in my master closet. The house, my house, the one I'd built with my own hands over 4 years, was finally, completely done. Every detail was exactly how I wanted it. Crown molding in every room, marble countertops in the kitchen, reclaimed oak floors I'd sanded and sealed 3 times because the first 2 attempts weren't perfect. It sat on 3 acres of land my grandmother had left me in her will. The property was worth maybe $60,000 when she gifted it to me. Now, with the house finished, the whole thing appraised at just over $900,000. I'd built it myself. Not metaphorically. I actually built it. I started at 19 working a framing crew for a commercial developer. Minimum wage, 80-hour weeks in 100-degree heat. My crew chief was a man who'd been in the trade for 30 years. He saw something in me. "You want to learn?" he'd asked on my 3rd day. "Really learn?" I told him yes. "Then shut up and watch." I watched for 8 years. I learned carpentry, learned how load-bearing walls worked, how to read blueprints like they were novels. I learned plumbing from books, watching hours of videos until I understood P-traps and vent stacks. I learned electrical from my mentor, David Johnson, a retired master electrician who lived down the road from my grandmother's land. He failed me 3 times on my practice panel before I got it right. "Electricity doesn't care if you're tired, kid," he'd said. "You do it right or someone dies." I did it right. I saved every dollar. Lived in a tiny studio apartment that cost $700 a month. Drove a 15-year-old car. I didn't date, didn't vacation. I just worked and saved and planned. The house was mine. Every square foot, every nail, every drop of sweat was mine. I'd always been the responsible one, the fixer. When my sister Madison decided she was going to be an influencer, I gave her $10,000 to start her business, money I had earmarked for my kitchen appliances. When my parents' roof started leaking, I spent 2 weekends re-shingling it myself, saving them thousands. And when they asked for help with this wedding, I wrote a check for $5,000 without blinking because that's what you do for family. I thought that's what family does. The reception was in the grand ballroom of a historic hotel. A Pinterest board exploded to life. White roses draped from every surface. Towering centerpieces that cost more than my first car. A live band, an open bar. I sat at a table with distant relatives, making small talk about the weather and the ridiculously dry chicken we were served. At 8:45, my mother approached my table. Her smile was tight, her eyes like chips of ice. "Ella, darling, can we speak with you for a moment?" That was the voice she used when she was about to ask for something unreasonable and pretend it was perfectly normal. My father, Christopher, followed her, pulling out a chair and sitting down heavily. He didn't waste any time. "Your sister needs a house." I set down my champagne glass, forcing a polite smile. "Hey, the market is picking up. I'm sure she and Michael will find something wonderful." My mother waved a dismissive hand. "Don't be difficult, Ella. We want you to give her yours." The table went quiet. The distant cousin next to me suddenly became fascinated by her dessert fork. I laughed. An actual short, sharp laugh. "What?" "Your house," my father said, his voice low and firm. "The one you built. Madison needs it more than you do." My stomach turned to ice. That cold, sick feeling when you realize the people you love are serious about something utterly insane. "You can't be serious." My mother leaned in. "Of course we are. You're single, Ella. Madison is starting a family. They need that space, a yard for the children. They need stability. I spent 4 years building that house, I said, my voice dangerously level. And we helped you, my father cut in. You lent me $20,000 for the foundation, which I paid back in full with interest 10 months later. Semantics, my mother sniffed. We gave you the land. No, I said, my voice controlled. Grandma left me that land in her will. It is notarized and filed with the county. She left it to me and only me for a reason. My mother's face hardened. That land should have been divided equally. Then you should have discussed that with Grandma before she died. I took a slow, deliberate breath, consciously trying to stay calm. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of a scene. I would be a gray rock. Boring, factual, unmovable. I looked from my father's reddening face to my mother's pinched expression. The house is mine. I built it with my own 2 hands. It is not a gift to be passed around. We're asking you to do the right thing for your sister, my mother insisted, her voice rising just enough to draw the attention of the next table. The right thing, I replied evenly, is for Madison and Michael to build their own life just like I did. They can save. They can work hard. That's how it's done. She can't afford it, my father boomed. Then she can't have it, I said simply. I'm not handing over 4 years of my life, every cent I've ever saved, because Madison refuses to plan for her own future. Just then Madison herself appeared, a radiant, smiling bride, with her new husband Michael a step behind her. She looked from my parents' furious faces to my calm one. What's going on? She asked, her smile faltering. Your sister is being selfish, my mother announced, her voice now loud enough for half the room to hear. We asked her to give you her house as a wedding gift and she refused. Madison's face fell. The happy bride vanished, replaced by a petulant child. Her eyes filled with tears. You won't give me your house? She whispered as if I had just denied her a dying wish. Madison, I'm your sister, she cried. You're supposed to help me. I gave you $5,000 for this wedding, I reminded her, my voice still quiet, but carrying in the sudden lull from the band. That's nothing compared to a house, she shot back. My father stood up so fast his chair scraped loudly against the floor. His face was purple with rage. This is your last chance, Ella, he snarled, pointing a finger at me. Sign the house over to your sister, or you are out of this family. The room was completely silent now. Everyone was watching. I am putting family first, I said, standing to meet his gaze. I'm putting myself first because it's painfully clear that no one else in this family will. He didn't say another word. He turned, grabbed a heavy, ornate silver platter from the dessert table behind him. It was part of the decor, solid, probably weighed 10 pounds. He swung it. I saw it coming, but my body couldn't react in time. Metal connected with my temple. The world exploded in white light and a sound like cracking stone. I fell. As I lay on the floor, the world muffled and distant, I saw shoes gathering around me. Someone was screaming. My head felt wrong, disconnected. A hand landed on my shoulder and my mother's voice cut through the fog. Get up. You're embarrassing us. Before I could respond, a man in a black suit pushed through the crowd. A security badge was clipped to his lapel. I saw that. His voice boomed, clear and authoritative. Sir, do not move. My father gestured wildly at the guard. Stay out of this. It's a family matter. That's assault with a deadly weapon, the guard replied calmly, pulling out his radio. Dispatch, I need police for an assault in the main ballroom. Suspect is on scene. Victim has a head wound. The radio crackled a response. As I tried to sit up, the room spinning violently, Michael knelt beside me. Ella, are you okay? He looked up at my father, his face a mask of disbelief and disgust. What the hell is wrong with you people? This doesn't concern you, son, my father spat. I just married into this family, Michael said, his voice cold as steel. It absolutely concerns me. He stood, pulled out his phone and turned up the brightness. And there's something everyone here needs to know. Michael, don't, Madison pleaded, grabbing his arm. He shook her off. No, he held up his phone so the nearby tables could see the screen. This is an email from my financial advisor, sent yesterday. Dear Michael, as requested, I've completed the financial review. I must inform you of a significant discrepancy. Madison Miller has accumulated over $120,000 in undisclosed credit card debt across 6 accounts. A collective gasp rippled through the room. Madison's face went white. My father stared at her. Is this true? She was silent. But Michael wasn't finished. He swiped to a different screen. And this is a text message Madison sent to your mother 2 days ago. He cleared his throat and read aloud. Mom, plan is set for the wedding. We corner Ella after the speeches. You do the guilt trip first, then Dad comes in with the muscle. He has to give in. I need that house to secure a loan to cover my debts before Michael finds out. The silence in the room was absolute, broken only by the sound of approaching sirens. My mother looked like she'd been turned to stone. The police walked in and the security guard pointed. Victim here. Suspect here. The weapon is on the floor. The cuffs clicked shut around my father's wrists. Final. Absolute. Michael was still holding his phone. His voice, filled with contempt, carried across the ballroom. So you assaulted your own daughter because she wouldn't give her house to a woman who conspired with you to commit extortion? I was rushed to the hospital. The emergency room was a blur of bright lights and urgent voices. A kind doctor with tired eyes told me I had a severe concussion and a laceration that required 8 staples to close. As he worked, a detective arrived. I told her everything, my voice flat and empty. The physical pain was a dull throb compared to the sharp agony of betrayal. I didn't hesitate. Yes, I wanted to press charges. Yes, I wanted a restraining order. I was done. Legally, emotionally, I was severing the ties. The next few hours passed in a fog of X-rays and paperwork. Just as they were about to discharge me, David Johnson walked in. My mentor. My friend. My real father figure. Someone at the hotel who knew him had called and told him what happened. He took one look at me, the blood-stained blouse, the stark metal staples in my hairline, and his face hardened. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. He just sat with me while I waited for the prescription, his quiet, solid presence a comforting anchor in the chaos. He drove me home to the house I had built, walking me inside and making sure I was settled on the couch with a glass of water and my pain medication. Before he left, he put a hand on my shoulder. Your grandmother would be so proud of you, kid, he said, his voice thick with emotion. She always knew you were the strong one. After he was gone, I finally let myself break. I sat in my beautiful living room, surrounded by the fruits of my labor, and cried for the family I thought I had, and the one I had just lost forever. A few days later, Michael came to visit. He looked exhausted. He apologized for everything, for not seeing the toxicity sooner. He told me he'd filed for an annulment. Fraud is grounds for annulment, he explained, his voice hollow. She hid over $100,000 in debt and conspired with her parents to steal your house. I can't build a life on that foundation. His words didn't bring me joy, only a grim sense of validation. He stood at the door looking around at the craftsmanship of my home. Your grandmother was smart, he said quietly. She knew who to trust with her legacy. He was right. My grandmother had known. And in my darkest moment, I finally understood that I had to trust her judgment and my own. 6 months flew by. The trial was a formality. Faced with dozens of cell phone videos and a conspiracy laid bare in text messages, my father's lawyer advised him to plead guilty. The judge sentenced him to 5 years of probation, 1,000 hours of community service and mandatory anger management. His real estate license was revoked. His career was over. The felony conviction was a public stain they couldn't wipe away. I heard secondhand that their lives were unraveling. My parents had to take out a second mortgage to pay Madison's creditors after she declared bankruptcy. Their carefully constructed image of perfection had shattered. They never tried to contact me again. While their world crumbled, mine began to build. The story of what happened at the wedding had spread through the local construction and design community. One day, I received a call from Ava Rodriguez, one of the most respected architects in the state. She'd seen photos of my house online, posted by a wedding guest who happened to be a real estate blogger. She was impressed by the detail, the craftsmanship, the sheer will it must have taken. I don't just need people who can follow a blueprint, Ella, she said. I need people who understand what it means to build something real from the ground up. I have a project manager position opening up. I think it's yours. It was more than a job. It was a validation of every sacrifice, every long night, every splinter. It was a future built on my own merit, not on manipulation or family obligation. The story ends here on my back deck, the one I finished last month. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. David Johnson is sitting across from me, a beer in his hand. We're grilling steaks, and the quiet comfort between us is more family than I have ever known. My house stands behind me, solid and peaceful, its windows glowing with warm light. It's more than wood and nails. It's a monument to my resilience. They tried to take it. They wanted to tear down what I had built to patch the holes in their own broken lives. They failed. I'm still here. I am home.